Hey everyone, welcome back to Vegan Yak, where I yak about all things vegan. I'm Walter, and today we're discussing plant pain, which is the fourth video in my series, Why You Are Not a Vegan, where I talk about all the common excuses that I hear about why people can't go vegan and see if there's any merit to any of them. So if you want to see the rest of the videos in the series, you can check out the playlist to see the rest of the excuses. Let me start by apologizing if my tone in this video isn't as exciting or cheerful as some of the other videos. It's just that I find the plant pain excuse to be like one of the most annoying ones. And not because there's absolutely no merit or it's not a topic worth talking about or discussing. It's because usually when someone brings this up, like they've never cared about plants before. They don't care about plant pain, plant suffering, and they've never advocated for the reduction of plant suffering until you've mentioned that you're vegan. So it really just seems like this is one of those excuses where people are just like grasping at straws. But either way, plant pain is not a good justification to not be a vegan, which I'll explain. So let's dig in and bury this excuse once and for all. I don't think he's gonna make it. Okay. Are plants sentient and do they feel pain? Well, I'm gonna waste my time here in a few minutes to go through the science briefly just to say that I did, but really, and more importantly, it's totally irrelevant when it comes to whether or not you should be a vegan. There's a few things to consider here, which is one, are plants sentient? Do they feel pain? Two, is that sentience or pain that they could feel the same level of animals and humans? And three, if those two things were the case, should we give plants moral consideration? And let's just say for the sake of argument that we grant all three of these things. Let's say that the science is crystal clear and it says that plants feel pain, which it isn't. And let's say that the science is clear and it says that the plant pain is the exact same pain that animals feel, which it doesn't. And let's just say because of those two other things being true, that plants should be given a moral consideration. Meh. Well, then being vegan would still be the best choice if you care about plant pain and suffering, because being vegan causes less plant deaths than eating animals, which I'll explain in just a second. But before I do, let me remind you to like this video if you haven't already. And if you're looking for more information and tips on how to go vegan and stay vegan, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell down below, so that way next week when I'm yakking about something else vegan and a new video comes out, you'll be the first to know. But yes, even if plants felt pain at the exact same level as animals and they deserved moral consideration, being vegan would still be the best choice because it would reduce the number of plant deaths. Just think about it logically first and compare the two situations, a completely vegan world or the world that we currently live in. Well, the world that we currently live in is 7 billion people, which might seem like a lot of people to feed plants, but in order to feed those 7 billion people animals currently, we raise and slaughter 70 billion land animals and trillions of marine animals. So which one do you think requires more plants to be grown and to be killed? Is it just to feed 7 billion people, or growing enough plants to feed trillions of animals? Hint, it's the trillions of animals. In fact, it's estimated that just the 7 billion livestock animals in America alone consume more than 5 times the amount of grain that is consumed directly by the American population. For every kilogram of animal protein that's produced, an animal eats 6 kilograms of plant protein, when we could just be eating the plant protein directly itself. If all of the grain currently fed to the United States livestock animals was fed directly to people, it's estimated that we could feed 800 million people, which just happens to be the rough amount of people that are starving in the entire world. David Pimentel, the professor of ecology in Cornell's University College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, reported that if those grains were exported, it would boost the US trade balance by $80 billion a year. That's besides the point a little bit, but good info nonetheless. And hopefully you can see that if you care about plant pain and suffering, that even though it might be counterintuitive, eating a plant-based diet and living a vegan lifestyle actually causes less plant death and suffering. And less human suffering, and less environmental damage, and less animal suffering and death. And all of this is true even if the science was crystal clear and said that for sure plants feel pain, which it doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of different results here, a lot of gray area, and even to answer this question, if plants are sentient and feel pain, you'd have to have a clear-cut definition of what sentience is. And if you do a quick Google search, you're gonna find that there isn't one clear-cut answer. Some people will point to the fact that you have to be aware of your surroundings. Others will point to the fact that you have to be able to respond to your surroundings. And some will point to the fact that you have to be able to experience feelings and emotions. And do plants fit these definitions? Yes and no. I don't think that responding to your environment in itself is enough to be considered being sentient, even though plants do fit this definition. And that's what a lot of the science has been showing. They'll do something to a plant, like cut it, and they'll see that there are a variety of different responses that the plant kingdom gives, which is obvious. I mean, just go look at like a Venus flytrap. There's gonna be a response. But just because something can respond to stimulus doesn't necessarily mean that it has the ability to feel pain or feel emotions, at least not the same way that animals and plants do. I mean, just go press your doorbell. It will respond to you. Whoa, okay, whoa, sorry, I didn't realize that you were alive. That hurt you? I'm sorry, I had no idea. And to think, me and my friends have just been using you this whole time like some sort of slave labor. Can you ever forgive me? Okay, sorry, that was ridiculous, but you get the point. Just because something has the ability to respond to stimulus doesn't mean that it's sentient, or at least that it has the ability to experience feelings and emotions. And you might be saying, well, that's different because plants are alive. And so maybe you're trying to put forth this hierarchy of sentience. And yeah, maybe I can agree to that, because maybe you would say that plants are more sentient than something like a doorbell or light switch or Siri, all of which that can respond to stimulus, but aren't necessarily able to experience feelings. But if you're willing to make this case about hierarchy of sentience, then you would probably take the next step and say that members of the animal kingdom are much more sentient than plants and everything else that we know of. Plants don't have brains or central nervous systems, so they at least don't feel pain the same way that animals do according to the science. And again, just look at this logically and tell me that there's not a difference between these two things. So if plants aren't as sentient as humans and animals, but we still have to eat something to survive, then wouldn't it make sense to choose the option that's going to cause the least amount of suffering and pain? And that's again assuming that it would be equal, where it's choosing an animal or choosing a plant to eat. But that's not the reality. It's choosing an animal and a lot of plant deaths, or just choosing the plant death. So this excuse of plant pain as a justification to not be vegan is absolutely ridiculous and quite honestly pathetic. Now, I don't think that this means we should just have a complete disregard for plants and that we should just like mindly deforest or anything like that. In fact, that's not even a part that I talked about when I talked about eating animals and how it would cause more plant deaths, because it's not just the plants that they eat, it's also the plants that we destroy to raise them. Up to 91% of the rainforest deforestation is due to animal agriculture, and it takes way more land and resources to raise animals. We could reduce the land use by 75% if we just ate plant-based diets. So again, eating plant-based diets would cause a lot less plant suffering in that aspect as well. Boom, excuse dead, it's killed.
So, should we say any kind words or anything?
No way, that excuse was a... I hope this video is viewed by 7 billion unique visitors so I never have to talk about it again, but because I know that won't happen, I'll just wait to be annoyed by this excuse when it's brought up. Yippee! But you know what? You can help delay that by sharing this video with others. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it down below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that way you can keep up with the future content. Thanks for watching, and remember until next time to stop looking at what you can't do and start looking at what you can do. Thanks.